Anu?
Yeah, it is
Yeah,
in
I
Just a
process.
think
minute.
he has started with the recording. Yeah.
Okay, let's
Ma'am, let's
start.
begin with it. Good evening, everyone. Among us, we have a district governor nominated, Dr. Rita Kalra, ma'am. I need your permission just to begin with today's webinar. May I have a permission of yours,
Yeah,
ma'am?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
Myself, Kavita Garg from Rotary Club, Ponta Sahib, IPP. And today among us, we have two good speakers, Anjana ji and Dr. Nitya Prakash ji. And this Anjana ji, she is practicing advocate since last 28 years. Experience of 11 high courts, Supreme Court, and specialization in matrimonial laws, domestic violence. Vast experience of drug de-addiction and alcohol. Represent 32 de-addiction centers based in Dehradun. Trained by National Institute of Social Defense. Active in many social arenas. Her father was Rotarian since 55 years, Lifetime Achievement Awardee, Rotarian HL Khanna. With this, ma'am, I welcome you. Please enlighten us, whatever the topic is there. First of all, please highlight on the topic which topic you are about to take. Please, ma'am, you are most welcome. Please, ma'am. Over to you.
Very good evening. Very good evening to everyone, and
Good evening.
welcome to a very hot topic of today's scenario,
Mhm.
which is very much in talk also these days, mental illness. And the topic which I am focusing on, I'll speak a little bit about mental illness and mental disorders, and then our laws pertaining to the same. We have very few laws on it, actually. First of all, we have to understand what mental illness is. So, I think most of us are aware of it, but still, since we are into this topic, though, it's better I go in a. So, what is mental illness? Mental illness, it is a medical condition that affects a person's thinking, emotion, or behavior. This mental illness can be so grave that it can cause distress and make difficult the life of a person. All and also the functionings also becomes difficult in social work or family situations. If a person suffers from a mental illness, so his or her day-to-day life is absolutely affected. Then there comes changes in his thinking, in his perception, in his mood, his behavior also starts changing. The biggest problem which comes with this is the switching over of the moods. Then slowly the problems start coming in the relationships, in the work field, and the most importantly, the problems start coming in the marriage, in the family life of a person. Along with it, then the legal problems come forward. Then there are financial problems because if you are not able to function properly, so it will hit your finances. Your work profile will be disturbed, and you have to face so many things. And one more thing which comes with this, that it affects our immune system. It weakens our immune system. That is a very important factor which generally people don't consider with a mentally sick person. And our heart gets affected because of the like you say ki suddenly you are in an anger or you're in an extreme condition, so it starts affecting our heart also, and other medical conditions also come. And the most importantly, the stress which is caused by this, it worsens the person's personality completely. And generally we say कि भाई mentally sick है इसको psychiatrist को दिखा दो, let's take him to a psychologist. Then the second term comes the clinical psychologist. Then the third term comes the a mental doctor. Finally कि now let us say this person has gone insane. This is gradually, this mental illness, gradually it is converted into insanity, or in the end you start saying that this person has become a lunatic. And now, since there is so much of awareness of this topic, that we have various kinds of treatments also available with us. in this. There are different medications. Generally, they start with the counseling, then they'll start with a little bit of medicine, then a better treatment in this manner. And the mental disorders are very much different. They're different. You see, every person has its own body. Every person has its own disorders. Like we say ki this is a viral fever in one person, that same viral fever can be different in another person because everybody's metabolism is different. Now, in this case, the WHO has also worked a lot on this, and WHO says that 1 in every 8 people, these are the datas now, which are little bit I'm referring, that 1 in every 8 people in the world live in mental disorder. And if we look around, this is right. आप अपनी जनरल लाइफ में भी देखोगे तो हर 7-8 जने के बाद एक रेशो आपको दिखेगा कि ओहो and अब ना this word has become very common. Oh, this person is mentally sick. Because government has taken a bigger note of it since this latest act has come in, Mental Health Care Act 2017. Since the government has promulgated this act and it has been very much, we are having so many seminars, so many meetings on this. So people are aware of it. In 2019, 301 million people were living with mental illness. These are the data of WHO. Anxiety disorders. And what are these disorders are mainly are depression, bipolar disorders, post-traumatic stress disorders, and extreme threatening conditions, schizophrenia, etc. So these are the mental conditions actually which a person who's mentally sick is supposed to have. Now, I'll come to my topic, in matrimonial relationship, how does it affect? Mental sickness or mental disorder, how does it distort the matrimonial relationships and what are the relevant laws with so that we can you can take help of or seek help of those laws. But to be very frank, we don't have much legal remedies into this. Since the very beginning, there is one, like in our Hindu Marriage Act, it goes ki there is a clause of a person, section 13 is very clear on this, Hindu Marriage Act. Is उसमें एक clause है कि अगर if a person is suffering from a mental disorder, the other spouse has a right to divorce. But for this, we have to really understand few things. First, we have to understand what marriage is actually. In our country, marriage is regarded as an important and sacrosanct event in an individual's life, and everyone is supposed to get married. This is very particular in India. In India, we have a mindset ki the ultimate of this thing when a child grows, becomes an adult, he's well settled in his job and everything, तो we say कि भाई अब शादी हो जानी चाहिए. And आज की डेट में भी यही गोल है इंडियन पेरेंट्स का कि भाई 27, 28, 30 साल तक बच्चों की शादी हो जानी चाहिए. And for every person who has a daughter, it is their biggest goal कि हमारी बेटी की भाई फटाफट शादी हो जाए and our daughter gets settled, and they consider it as their religious duty also. कि कन्यादान हमने अगर करा है तो it is the biggest दान. For Indian women, marriage is one of the most important aspects of her life, and the social status of the woman enhances after getting married. This is right, absolutely right. Parents often cough up their life savings, take loans, or dispose of their immovable properties to arrange substantial dowry to marry off their daughters. Now, what happens? आपने तो सब कुछ जोड़ जाड़ के सब कुछ करके आपने शादी कर दी. अब either of the spouse is suffering from mental disorder, then the life becomes hell. But उससे पहले एक चीज आती है. The parents of the about to get married persons, they know that our child is suffering from a particular mental disorder. And this is the trauma of our life, we can say, कि they prefer to marry that child instead of getting him treated. A very common thing. अरे इसकी शादी कर दो, ये ठीक हो जाएगा. But that is absolutely wrong. We should rather focus on getting our child treated first, because it is his right to live a dignified life. A girl, for example, you say girl of 25 years of age, she has this problem, she gets married, then just imagine the confusion she faces in life, because she is, initially she's into some traumatic stage, facing some and then there is another person in front of her and the whole family to cater to. So this illness doubles up. And then who's responsible? I will say the parents are responsible. Why parents are responsible? Because they have to marry off their daughter and they find it a stigma. अरे इनकी daughter की शादी नहीं हो रही है. No, these are all the things. Then this is how, the marriage that is converted into a mental disorder, and then there are legislations over it. Now, very important, we have to understand what happens if another spouse comes to know that my wife is suffering from this mental disorder. And I've already discussed the conditions. There is the anger issues, violent outbursts, mood swinging. Then slowly, the spouse comes to know. And in our laws, now I'll come to the laws part. Very clearly, we have the only remedy, we can get a divorce. But for that also, I have seen in many cases, it is very difficult to prove that the person is suffering from mental disorder. Because there are so many degrees of this thing. A little bit of mood swinging and violent outburst, anger issues, these are not the causes of a breakdown of a marriage. And the court also do not consider them, because courts are very clear now. Supreme Court is also very clear that, this folly, petty disputes of husband and wife will not be considered a ground for divorce, because there has to be some, very solid ground. Cruelty for now, what is happening ki after this act has come into force, every petition is coming, the other spouse is suffering from mental disorder. Because this is happening, why? Because they have generalized the mental illness in the latest Mental Health Care Act. Earlier, as per the matrimonial laws, there was a particular word used, schizophrenia. If a person is schizophrenic, then only he is entitled to get a divorce from his spouse. Now, as per Mental Health Care Act 2017, they have covered each and everything into that. Most importantly, drugs, the addictions, they have covered that. Now, what happens when a person goes or asks, my spouse is suffering from these things, but our law doesn't support that. Our law speaks about only schizophrenia. Mental Health Care Act definition is something very vast. So, I'll be very specific. According to Section 13 of the Act, divorce or judicial separation can be obtained if the person has been incurably of unsound mind or has been suffering continuously or intermittently from mental disorder of such a kind and to such an extent that the petitioner cannot reasonably be expected to live with the other spouse. Now, this is very important. Degree of mental disorder, that the situation gets so worsened that you are unable to live with each other. The expression mental disorder means mental illness, arrested, or incomplete development of mind, psychopathic disorder, or any other disorder or disability of mind and includes schizophrenia. So in the end also, you land up with the schizophrenia only. The expression psychopathic disorder means a persistent disorder or disability of the mind, whether or not including subnormality or intelligence, which results in abnormally aggressive or seriously irresponsible conduct on the part of the other party, whether or not it requires or is susceptible to medical treatment. The Supreme Court that says that each case of schizophrenia has to be considered on its own merits. Now, again, what I told you earlier, that schizophrenia has classifications, degrees of schizophrenia, and how what happens कि this mental illness increases slowly. और होता क्या है कि उस दौरान आपका मैट्रिमोनियल रिलेशनशिप स्क्रू होते होते उस लेवल तक पहुंच जाता है कि द अदर पार्टी puts the foot down कि now I cannot live with this person anymore. And this is how the family is degenerated. The family degenerated, it leads to degeneration of the society at large. And the biggest loss is like if that woman, for example, she's a mentally disturbed woman, she gets pregnant, she gives birth to a child. Now, look, just imagine this procreation becomes so difficult in such a condition. That child will definitely carry those symptoms of mental illness. And now you see how the situation complicates. पहले तो सिर्फ वाइफ ही मेंटल डिसऑर्डर में है या स्पाउस हस्बैंड मेंटल डिसऑर्डर में है, अब उन दोनों का कंटेंट आ गया बच्चे के बीच में. सो व्हाट हैपेंस कि वी हैव रिप्रोड्यूस्ड वन मोर ह्यूमन बीइंग, एंड दिस इज हाउ वी आर मेकिंग एवरीथिंग कॉम्प्लेक्स इन द सोसाइटी. सो माय मतलब I can only conclude by saying कि parents should be very vigilant before marrying off their daughter or their husband or their son. मतलब वो जो एक बहुत सिंपल सा सेंटेंस है ना, अरे शराब पीता है इसकी शादी कर दो. सॉरी मैं बिकॉज मैं 28 साल से सिर्फ मैट्रिमोनियल केसेस देख रही हूँ. अरे शराब पीता है इसकी शादी कर दो, लड़की आएगी इसको संभाल लेगी. व्हाई? क्या वो लड़की आपके शराबी बेटे को संभालने के लिए आएगी? क्या वो लड़की आपके एडिक्ट लड़के को संभालने के लिए आएगी? बट आजकल तो यू सी नाउ द सिनेरियो इज चेंज्ड, इट इज इक्वल. आज की डेट में लड़का लड़की बराबर शराब पीते हैं. सो अब हम ये चीज तो वी कैन नॉट से कि ओनली बॉयज आर, यू सी जेंडर डिस्क्रिमिनेशन इज nowhere left now because they are equally into the corporate world or whatever world. And I think what I have observed myself, my personal, कि आजकल 9th-10th के बच्चे, whether it is a boy or it is a girl. Am I wrong, Dr. Saab? Dr. Nitya Prakash will, I think I'm very much right here. 8वीं या 9वीं क्लास से ये बच्चे अपना इनके हाथ में, and their parents also feel so proud of it कि they do not understand where they are landing up. There are some because and over ambitious parents, they play a very big role into this. Over ambitious parents, wo 98%, 99%, then getting into the top universities, and एक वो combined studies का आजकल बहुत ज़्यादा रिवाज है. That this all leads to, but what happens कि आप जैसे जैसे grow करते हो और ये मेंटल डिसऑर्डर तो बढ़ता चला जाता है. और इसका लास्ट में यही होता है कि इन मैट्रिमोनियल रिलेशनशिप्स फिर इट कम्स टू एन एंड ओनली बाय डिवोर्स ले लो. एंड जो थोड़ा सा मैं एक दूसरा टॉपिक इसमें ऐड करूंगी जो आजकल मुझे पर्सनली बहुत डिस्टर्ब कर रहा है, जो ये फैट एलिमनी का रिवाज हो गया है. आप लोगों ने अभी देखे होंगे 2 सुसाइड्स हुए हैं. गवर्नमेंट को पहले ही इस पे कुछ कर लेना चाहिए था, because I cannot quote you my cases to be very frank, But I, being the lawyer of the lady, I used to feel it. कि this is very bad. This is really very bad. You know, business ban gaya hai bilkul. This is the demand fat alimony and all that. Maybe, they are not living together for 3-4 days and ending up in big fat alimonies. But अब तो government अब जागी है. अब शायद government कुछ करेगी इस पे, और करना भी चाहिए. Because this is a very wrong. आज की date में you see, both are earning. Both are earning to the same status. They get married to the same status only. So why the boy has to pay? Why the... Now let's hope कि इस पे थोड़ा सा मैं different out of the way चली गई. But I think कि this is a very alarming topic because this mental illness is increasing day by day because of the pressure of the life, pressure of the society, and pressure of the parents, which they give to their children from the childhood. To have more and more in life, rather than telling your children to have a life full of contentment. This factor has gone away. Contentment, I don't see contentment into any family. They want to grab more and more. So I won't take more time, and I will just say that we should all be very, vigilant now, and we should really take care of our children when they are growing, if they are not going towards any mental disorder or any this thing. Because this is correct, as WHO has said, 1 out of 8 person is suffering from mental disorder. So I hope I have put up whatever was in my knowledge. I've been able to impart it to all of you, and I would get chance to other people, and I would like to hear other people also now. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Very, very informative. And you're absolutely correct that Indian parents, how do they think it is going to be a stigma on them until unless they get their daughters married or a son married. And I just want to share one case with you that I know a young boy who recently got married. And after 6 months, he came to know that his wife is suffering from depression. And I just asked him, now recently she is suffering from depression. He said, no, ma'am. Before marriage, she had this problem. But the parents, they try to hide from him. And now his life has become totally hell. I do agree with you. So then I asked him कि उसके पीछे reason क्या है depression? तो what depression she had it? That कि वो बचपन में पढ़ नहीं पाई, उसके पेरेंट्स ने उसको अच्छे स्कूल में नहीं डाला, सिंपल स्कूल में डाला, उसको साइकिलिंग नहीं करने दिया. Different reasons were there. And now I really feel pity on that young man, that now only that how his married life has become hell. Day and night, now he is under stress. He himself is under stress.
You are feeling pity for one spouse.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
quote one case. It's going on right now.
Okay.
The boy is a robotic engineer.
Okay.
Listen.
Hmm.
Father is a retired high-profile army person. High profile, I'm saying. Well, I don't want to quote the name. You see, I have to maintain the secrecy.
Yeah.
And at present, after retirement, that person is heading a very big institution. देख, बेटे का मेंटल डिसऑर्डर था, पता था, सब कुछ पता था. एक बिल्कुल गरीब घर की लड़की, सुनो, शादी करके ले गए. आज सिचुएशन ये है कि the girl has also gone into depression. The boy is already into depression. Right? Father-in-law says, you come and stay with my boy. I'll give you all the luxuries of the life. She says, I cannot live with him. He beats me.
Yeah.
He shouts at me. Right? This happens. And when the case progresses, working into this field only, the judges also, they start respecting you. It is your expertise. So we are sitting in the judge's chamber, we are talking, and then again the father is saying, she should come back. and I'll give her a very good position in my institution. And I just cannot tell you the, situation of that mother and daughter. उसके father की death हो गई है recently. They don't have money. और उसके father-in-law 20,000 rupees per month देते थे जब तक वो अलग रह रही थी. The moment we started the litigation, he stopped that. And I can tell you the situation of the war. वो लड़के का क्या है? Please वापस आ जाओ, please वापस आ जाओ, please वापस आ जाओ. I can't live with you. And she says, I can't live with him.
Yeah.
And the mother and daughter, they are into, hand and mouth. आप सोचिए बहुत
Yeah.
difficult situation
बहुत
होती है.
difficult है. You are absolutely correct, ma'am. The need of an hour is and parents' orientation is very, very
Yes.
important. Being an educationist,
Yes.
what I feel, parents have totally become blind and they are demanding more and more from their children. Yeah, absolutely correct.
Yeah,
The child
exactly.
has a potential of only 50 to 60%. But what do? They are demanding 90 plus. Again, the good universities and the good jobs, but still when people are not aware about mental illness, we need to create awareness. That is why all these platforms are being created by our district. And I'm so thankful to
And there जो parent जो बच्चा 50-60% वाला है, आप 90% मांग रहे हो तो वो drugs नहीं लेगा तो क्या लेगा?
क्या करेगा? Of course,
क्या
right. You are.
करेगा वो?
Yes.
वो addiction में जाएगा, बिल्कुल जाएगा addiction में.
जाएगा. Yes, I agree, ma'am.
And वो अपनी जिंदगी के 45-50 साल में मर भी जाएगा.
मर भी जाएगा.
मतलब lawyer
I know.
हम लोग होते हैं. मैं बता रही हूँ वो फिर मर जाएगा इतनी छोटी. अगर वो नॉर्मल जिंदगी जीता तो कंफर्टेबल लाइफ जीता ना.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. I agree, ma'am, because people are still not aware about mental illness. They are aware about only health illness, physical illness. वो physical के लिए डॉक्टर के पास चले जाते हैं, but they are scared to go to any psychiatrist or a counselor. So it's a
Because
biggest
they
myth of an
consider
art.
it as stigma, na? Stigma.
Yeah. Chalo, we will be having more webinars. I'm just trying my best just to connect many people from the district. At least they just learn from each other and they can spread the message in the community. Thank you so much, ma'am. We would love to listen once again from you later on. Now, among us, we have another speaker, Dr. Nitya Prakashji, and I'm thankful to Rita Kalra, ma'am, suggesting his name. He is a United Nations Karamveer Chakra Gold awardee, and he is a visionary storyteller and trailblazer in education. His novels, including Dear I Hate You and R.I.P. in the Name of Love, captivate readers across the globe with their profound exploration of human emotions and insights rooted in his computer science expertise. Beyond the literary world, Dr. Prakash is a passionate advocate for revolutionizing education. In India, he serves as a mentor of change and advises startups at IIT Bombay, fostering groundbreaking ideas and shaping future-ready policies. He has so much, ma'am. Internationally celebrated as an academia mastermind. Dr. Prakash represents India on global platforms, sharing his transformative vision for education. A true polymath, he is both a masterful storyteller and an architect of groundbreaking solutions, shaping the minds of tomorrow. Sir, if I don't know what to say you and what to call you, and a salute to you. Now here, let's listen from him that we are so eager. Sir, I welcome you on behalf of District 3080. Please, sir, now over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for a warm introduction. And first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Rita Kalra, ma'am, for having me over here. And I would like to thank and congratulate the previous speaker, Anjana, ma'am, for such insightful session. I think it was very rewarding experience to listen to you. Because this is something which is very common these days, and these are some pressing issues that every now and then everybody faces. So thank you so much, ma'am, for the insightful session. And all the members, I believe 13 is a good number. For a lot of people, it doesn't sound that great. The hotel doesn't have a room of 13, but I believe that 13 is going to be pretty auspicious number for us. So all the listeners today, first of all, thank you for taking out time today to attend this session. I'll try to make it very crisp and from out of my experience, whatever I have, I will, try to capture a bit of that in my session today. तो पहले तो मैं इस सेशन की शुरुआत करूंगा चाणक्य के एक कोट से, जो मुझे लगता है कि आज की जिंदगी में बहुत ही डिफिकल्ट हो चुका है फॉर एवरीबडी। एंड चाणक्य कहते हैं, संतुष्टा द्विजा नष्टा असंतुष्टा इव पार्थिव। इसका अर्थ है कि जिस समय एक मनुष्य अपने आप से संतुष्ट हो जाता है, उसका जीवन मृत के समान हो जाता है। ही इज ऑलमोस्ट डेड द मोमेंट द इंडिविजुअल इज सेटिस्फाइड विद हिमसेल्फ। ये एक ऐसी एक ऐसी स्थिति है जहां पर पे हमें हर चीज चाहिए, और एक बहुत बड़ी मात्रा में चाहिए। सेटिस्फैक्शन इंसान की जिंदगी से पूरी तरह से खत्म हो चुका है। और हम इस सेटिस्फैक्शन के जो सबसे बड़ा जो प्रॉब्लम है वो है कि हम चीजों को समझ नहीं पाते हैं कि हम उनसे मूव ऑन कैसे करें। तो आज का जो मेरा टॉपिक है वो ये है, हाउ टू अनलर्न अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स। So before I do that, I want to start this session with a very small story. And this story is of a Chinese monk who was there in the borders of Himalaya. तो और जो चाइनीज मंक थे, बुद्ध को वो मानते थे, और वो अपने जो उनका प्लेस थी, वहां पर पे वो थे हिमालयास में। और उनका एक शिष्य था जो बहुत दूर से चलता हुआ आ रहा था कन्याकुमारी से, और पहले के टाइम पर पे कुछ ट्रैवल वगैरह की इतनी अच्छी फैसिलिटीज नहीं थी। तो वो बहुत दिनों का सफर करके, महीनों का सफर करके वो कन्याकुमारी से पहुंचा हिमालयास में। अब हिमालय में जो लामा थे, जिनको बुद्धिस्ट मॉन्क के जो सबसे चीफ होते हैं, वो बैठे हुए थे। वो महीनों का सफर करके आया, और वहां पर उसने बोला मुझे लामा से मिलना है। तो लामा के जितने भी वहां के शिष्य थे, उन्होंने बोला कि लामा से आपको क्यों मिलना है? बोलता है, मैं बहुत दिनों का सफर करके आ रहा हूँ, और मुझे लामा से बहुत सारे प्रश्न पूछने हैं, और मेरा सबसे बड़ा जो प्रश्न है वो ये है कि जिंदगी क्या है, जीवन क्या है। मैं सफर का अर्थ जानना चाहता हूँ, क्योंकि मैं बहुत दिन से सफर कर रहा हूँ और मैंने बहुत जिंदगी देखी है, लेकिन मुझे इसका अर्थ पता नहीं चल रहा। मुझे इसका अर्थ पता करना है। तो लामा ने जो उनका पगोड़ा, जो उस जगह पे लामा बैठते हैं, वहां पे वो बैठे हुए थे, और वो ध्यान में लीन थे। उनके जो शिष्य थे वो उनको लेकर के आए, और उस शिष्य को उनके सामने खड़ा करवाया। जब उनको खड़ा कराया, तब उस टाइम पर पे लामा को बोला, लामा आपके शिष्य ये आए हैं, और ये महीनों का सफर करके हम आपके पास आए हैं। लामा थोड़े बहुत मुस्कुराए, और उनके सामने एक केटल पड़ा था और एक कप पड़ा हुआ था जिसमें ऑलरेडी चाय भरी पड़ी थी। तो भरे हुए कप में जब केटल से आप चाय और डालेंगे तो क्या होगा? ओवरफ्लो होगा। तो वो जो कप था जिसके अंदर पहले से चाय थी, जब उन्होंने उसके अंदर चाय डालना शुरू किया तो वो पूरी चाय फैलने लगी। तो उनका जो शिष्य था, जो दूसरे से सफर करके आ रहा था, उसने बोला, लामा ये क्या कर रहे हैं, ये क्या कर रहे हैं? चाय फैलती जा रही है, फैलती जा रही है, आप रुकिए। बट लामा ने उनकी कुछ नहीं सुनी, और उन्हें पूरा केटल खाली कर दिया। अब जब उन्होंने केटल खाली कर दिया, तब शिष्य ने बोला, लामा मैं आपको मना कर रहा था, आप ये क्या कर दिया, ये तो पूरी चाय फैल गई। तो लामा ने बोला, अगर कुछ जीवन में पाना चाहते हो, जीवन में कुछ हासिल करना चाहते हो, तो अपना प्याला खाली करके आओ। हम एक टेम्पररी सी जिंदगी में सब कुछ परमानेंट चाहते हैं। हमें ऐसी चीज चाहिए कि जहां पर पे हमारा प्याला जो ऑलरेडी भरा हुआ है, हम उसमें और सारी चीजें डालते जाते हैं, डालते जाते हैं, डालते जाते हैं, और हमें ये समझ नहीं आता है कि नई चीजों के लिए जगह बनाने के लिए हमें पुरानी चीजों से मूव ऑन करना पड़ेगा। अनलर्निंग का जो प्रोसेस है, लर्निंग का जो प्रोसेस है, उसका एक मेजर पार्ट है अनलर्न करना। चीजों को जो अब एग्जिस्ट नहीं करती हैं उनसे मूव ऑन करना। और इसका जो प्रोसेस है वो स्टार्ट होता है एक कॉन्शियस बिलीफ के साथ में, और उन स्टिग्मास को जिन्हें हमें ब्रेक करना पड़ता है। नाउ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट इज, इफ यू हैव एन आईफोन ऑफ 256 GBs, you can only and only store information on data which is of 256 GBs. For everything else, if you want to store, you need additional space in your mobile phone. Okay. And in order to get that additional space, either you can buy another phone or you have to buy some cloud storage, but a storage is needed for that. The same thing happens with a human being as well. If you want to retain good information, nice information, information that will change your life, you need to get away with that information which you do not need in your life anymore. Now, when I say, a lot of people, they assume that when I'm talking about unlearning means forgetting something. It's not about forgetting something, it's about rethinking about that thing. The skills, the belief, and the habits which do not serve us in our present world. We need to do away with those things from your life. And in order to do that, there is a small framework of unlearning that we follow in our life. Now, first of all, I want to tell you the basic meaning of unlearning. So, unlearning, when we talk about, is a process, it is a conscious act of challenging the existing knowledge, the belief, the stigma, and the behavior which no longer serves you to make room for something new. अब आपके कमरे में अगर जगह है 2 लोगों के रहने के लिए ही, अगर आप उसमें 4-5 और लोगों को ले आएँगे, तो वो रूम में प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगी। आप 2 लोग भी कंफर्टेबली नहीं रह पाएँगे। यही चीज़ें होती हैं हमारे थॉट्स के साथ में। आपके दिमाग में जितनी कैपेसिटी नहीं है, आप उससे ज़्यादा जब चीज़ें हैंडल करने लगते हैं और उन चीज़ों को अपने दिमाग से हटाते नहीं हैं, तो आपके ऊपर एक्स्ट्रा बर्डन पड़ता है। आई थिंक इससे पहले मैम बात करी थी, अंजना मैम वाज़ टॉकिंग अबाउट parents, putting a lot of pressure on their kids. He was telling, and then Kavita ma'am also agreed that yes, this is happening. एक किसी बहुत बड़े लखनऊ के शायर ने कहा है कि आपका बच्चा और भी आगे बढ़ सकता है अगर आप उसकी पीठ से उतर जाएं। जो एक्सपेक्टेशंस होती हैं माँ बाप की, जो पेरेंट्स की, जो सोसाइटी की जो एक्सपेक्टेशंस होती हैं बच्चे से, वो इतनी ज्यादा होती हैं कि बच्चा लाइफ में कुछ नया, कुछ प्रोडक्टिव कर ही नहीं पाता है। नाउ इन ऑर्डर टू अनलर्न, इसका एक प्रोसेस होता है जिसको हम रिकॉग्नाइज करते हैं। नाउ इसमें 3 चीजें होती हैं जिसमें 3R की अप्रोच होती है। नाउ द फर्स्ट R इज रिकॉग्नाइजिंग द आउटडेटेड पैटर्न्स। वो चीजें जो आपकी लाइफ में अब आपको नहीं चाहिए, वो चीजें जो आपको अब सर्व नहीं करती हैं। से फॉर एग्जाम्पल एक सिंपल है, इफ यू आर लिविंग इन अ मेट्रो and if you'll still have your orthodox mentality, which you used to follow in a small town in India, that will no longer serve you in a metro city. आप अगर बोलेंगे कि आपको वहां पे कास्ट सिस्टम चाहिए या कुछ भी ऐसा एक स्टिग्मा है जो कि आज के टाइम पर एग्जिस्ट नहीं करता, बट यू स्टिल वांट टू स्टिक टू दैट इन अ मेट्रो or in a city which thrives and grows, it will no longer serve you. So you have to first of all see what is that particular thing which is outdated for you, which you need to recognize. So recognizing that important is the first step in this process. Now, the second step in this is releasing what no longer serves you. So now you understand that if I will continue to have this kind of pattern in my life, if I'll continue to have this kind of orthodox mentality in my life, and I'm just giving you an example, then it will not help me in my present life because people will stop talking to me. They will stop inviting me to events. They will not let me be a part of the society or community that I live in. So that you need to release. And the third one is, and the most important aspect is, relearn in alignment with the current realities. Now, when we say that relearning with the current realities, I meant to say that what is that step for which you need to do away with that old knowledge and move on to the new one. You need to relearn that thing, and for which your friends are there, the people in the society, the people whom you would like to be, you want to be like them, you follow their footsteps, and then realign all your, behavioral aspects, and then work towards that. So these are the 3 R's which you generally use when we unlearn a new thing. Now, there is also something, and I think Rita ma'am would agree to it. There is a science behind unlearning, which we call in our present world as brain plasticity. So now neuroscience tells us that brains are incredibly adaptable. The way you treat your brain, it will adapt to that particular situation. Now, this concept known as neuroplasticity means that with efforts and intention, we can rewire our thinking patterns. Anything that you want to see, you want to believe, you can rewire that thing. However, unlearning is challenging because it often involves confronting deeply ingrained habits and biasness. मैंने बचपन से ये चीजें अपने माँ बाप को करते हुए देखी है, मैंने अपनी फैमिली में ऐसी चीजें करते हुए देखा है। हाउ कैन आई चेंज दैट थिंग ओवरनाइट? तो ये एक ऐसी कुछ बायसनेस होती है, जो वो चीजें होती हैं जो आपके फ्रेंड्स करते हैं या सोसाइटी में हो रही होती है और आपको लगता है वो चीजें सही हैं, but then you start looking at it and you start looking at it from a different lens, and then you understand that, oh, I was wrong all throughout my life. So I need to change this particular habit. I need to break this particular stigma. And that's how the cycle runs. Now, the unlearning cycle, when we talk about, it's a simple framework, which we call it ARER. Now, in this framework that we have, the unlearning framework, the first A, which is awareness. Awareness is to acknowledge the need for change. मेरा ये बिहेवियर आज के टाइम पर सोसाइटी में अच्छा नहीं है. पीपल डोंट लाइक मी बिकॉज ऑफ माई बिहेवियर लाइक दिस. मे बी somebody who drinks a lot, maybe who's somebody who is into drugs. He needs to acknowledge that if I'll continue to do this, have this kind of habit, it is going to ruin my health, it is going to ruin my image, it is going to ruin a lot of things in my life, right? Or maybe at large, I will be held culpable in a crime which I shouldn't be into. So you need to make yourself aware and acknowledge the need for change. Now comes the reflection part of it. Now you are aware and you have acknowledged the need for change. Now you have to reflect and identify what to unlearn and why. Now, once you are aware, then now you see, okay, fine. Generally, whenever I am with my friends, and especially the friends from maybe from my school days or from my college days, whenever they come, I tend to go out and drink a lot with them. Or they instigate me and they tell me that Nitya, you should be taking drugs. I'm just taking an example. So you need to reflect and identify what needs to be unlearned and why. And then the third step comes experimentation. That means embracing the new approach. Now you have identified that this was something that I need to unlearn. Now I will get into that mode where I will experiment and embrace the new changes and approaches in my life that is going to bring about a change in my life. And last but not the least is reinforcement, of whatever I have done. Because if you need to unlearn anything and learn a new thing, then you need to solidify the new behavior through your practice. तो वो एक साइंटिफिक फैक्ट भी है कि कोई भी चीज अगर हम करना चाहते हैं, कोई भी हैबिट हम फॉर्म करना चाहते हैं, तो उसके लिए 21 डेज लगते हैं. इट कैन हैपन फॉर अ गुड थिंग दैट वी वांट टू डू. मेरे पास बहुत सारे लोग आते हैं. आई हैव रिटन 14 बुक सो फार. मेरे को बहुत सारे लोग बोलते हैं कि मेरी पढ़ने की आदत ही नहीं है, मैं पढ़ नहीं पाता हूँ, मैं पढ़ नहीं पाती हूँ, लेकिन मैं पढ़ना चाहती हूँ, आपकी किताबें पढ़ना चाहती हूँ, मैं आपका किताब पढ़ना चाहता हूँ. पीपल कम एंड टेल मी. लेकिन वो बोलते हैं मैं एक पन्ना पढ़ता हूँ, मैं बोर हो जाता हूँ. तो मैं उनको बोलता हूँ आप एक एक पन्ना 21 दिन पढ़िए. 22nd डे आप खुद अपनी किताब उसको उठाएंगे और आपकी वो एक हैबिट फॉर्म हो जाएगी. लेकिन वो 21 दिन का जो प्रोसेस है जिसमें आपका एक बिहेवियर सॉलिडिफाई होता है, वो करना बहुत जरूरी है. So solidifying that thing is very important. So the entire simple framework is number one, awareness. Second one is reflection. Third one is experimentation. And the fourth one is reinforcement of what you have done in your life. Now, there are some practical aspects because I believe अगर हम बहुत ज्यादा थ्योरी के ऊपर बात करेंगे तो फिर वो चीजें इतनी चलेंगी नहीं, इतनी ज्यादा एप्लीकेबल नहीं होती हैं. लेकिन हम इस जर्नी को जब स्टार्ट करते हैं इन ऑर्डर टू अनलर्न और बहुत सारी चीजों को, नई चीजों को सीखने के लिए अनलर्न जब शुरू करते हैं, तो उसमें हमें सबसे पहला जो एक स्टिग्मा होता है, एक्शनेबल स्टेप जो हम यूज करते हैं स्टिग्मा को ब्रेक करने के लिए, वो होता है चैलेंजिंग द असम्पशंस. क्वेश्चन द बिलीव दैट यू हैव हैड फॉर अ लॉन्ग टाइम. जैसे कि फॉर एग्जाम्पल, is success defined by external validations also? If somebody is validating the success that I have today, तभी मैं सक्सेसफुल माना चाहूंगा, या मैं लाइफ में जो कर रहा हूं, अगर मेरे पास कंटेंटमेंट है, सेटिस्फैक्शन है, तब भी मैं सक्सेसफुल हूं. तो यू नीड टू डिफाइन दैट अप्रोच, विच अप्रोच यू वांट टू टेक इट इन योर लाइफ. उसके बाद आता है जो सबसे बड़ा स्टेप है कि सीक डाइवर्स पर्सपेक्टिव्स इन योर लाइफ. engage with people who think differently from you. एक ही तरह की अगर थिंकिंग और मेंटालिटी के लोगों के साथ रहोगे तो शायद आप कभी ग्रो नहीं कर पाओगे. और हमें कॉन्ट्रास्ट की बहुत बार आवश्यकता होती है टू नो कि हमारी लाइफ दूसरे लेंस से कैसी दिखती है। थर्ड है माइंडफुलनेस। जो भी आपकी लाइफ में हो रहा है उसके जो ऑटोमेटिक रिएक्शंस हैं उनके लिए आपको अवेयर होना चाहिए। और जैसे ही आप अवेयर हो जाते हैं आप पहले स्टेप के तरफ बढ़ जाते हैं इन ऑर्डर टू ब्रिंग अबाउट दैट चेंज। अगला स्टेप आता है एम्ब्रेसिंग द फेलियर इन योर लाइफ। हम मिस्टेक्स को एम्ब्रेस नहीं कर पाते हैं। और आप विश्वास मानिए, मिस्टेक्स आर द अपॉर्चुनिटीज टू लर्न एंड इवॉल्व। तो जितनी गलतियां करेंगे, जितनी मिस्टेक्स करेंगे और उनसे सीखेंगे, आप उतनी ज्यादा लाइफ में आगे बढ़ेंगे। एंड सेलिब्रेट प्रोग्रेस, सेलिब्रेट योर विक्ट्रीज, द स्मॉलर वंस। आप गेम ऑफ सॉकर सॉकर में देखते होंगे, जब फुटबॉल खेलते हैं या क्रिकेट खेलते हैं, जैसे ही एक विकेट लेते हैं या एक सेंचुरी बनाते हैं, वो तुरंत सेलिब्रेट करते हैं। वो इस चीज के लिए रुकते नहीं है कि रुक जाओ अभी सेलिब्रेट नहीं करेंगे, जब हम जीत जाएंगे या हार जाएंगे मैच तब जाके सेलिब्रेट करेंगे। यही चीजें हमारी अपनी लाइफ में भी होनी चाहिए। बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि हम अपनी लाइफ में जो हमारी इमीडिएट विक्ट्रीज हैं, जो स्मॉलर विक्ट्रीज हैं, उनको भी सेलिब्रेट करें। गो आउट विद योर फैमिली, विद योर फ्रेंड्स एंड सेलिब्रेट दोज विक्ट्रीज इन योर लाइफ। द मोर यू सेलिब्रेट दोज विक्ट्रीज, उतनी ज्यादा हैपनिंग और एक्साइटिंग बनेगी आपकी लाइफ। अब मैं आपको एक छोटी सी चीज बताता हूँ। जब मैं मैं आई वॉज इन द फील्ड ऑफ लर्निंग एंड डेवलपमेंट, कॉर्पोरेट में मैं 10 साल रहा। और 10 साल के बाद जब मैंने चंडीगढ़ यूनिवर्सिटी एज अ डायरेक्टर ज्वाइन किया एज एन एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशन, मेरी लाइफ में बहुत सारे चेंजेस आए। और उस टाइम पर पे जब मैं आया तो मुझे कॉर्पोरेट लाइफ को अनलर्न करना पड़ा और एजुकेशनल लाइफ को समझना पड़ा कि एजुकेशन जो एक इंस्टीट्यूशन है वो कैसे वर्क करता है। अगर मैं कॉर्पोरेट के नॉर्म्स वहां पे भी चलाता तो शायद मेरी लाइफ बहुत ज्यादा डिफिकल्ट होती। तो आई स्टार्टेड वर्किंग ऑन दैट एरिया एंड स्टार्टेड unlearning those things which no longer served me in my life, which I was having in corporate domain. And that helped me to grow in my present life. Now, last but not the least, I think एक छोटी सी exercise है which I would want all the people who are present today, if you will do one thing today and you will do this exercise, you will definitely get some benefit out of it. Whenever you have time today, tomorrow, this weekend, take a moment to think of one belief or habit which you have outgrown but haven't yet let it go. इसका मतलब है कि कोई भी ऐसी चीज जो एक ऐसी हैबिट है जो आपको अब सर्व नहीं करती है पर्पस आपकी लाइफ में, कोई भी ऐसी चीज हो सकती है, लेकिन आप तब भी उसे छोड़ नहीं पा रहे, उसको लिखिए, अपने आप से पूछिए, रिफ्लेक्ट करिए, और जो मैंने एक छोटा सा आपको एक मेथडोलॉजी बताई है उसको इंप्लीमेंट करिए और पूछिए व्हाट इज दैट थिंग इन योर लाइफ विच इज होल्डिंग यू बैक so that you are not able to release it. The moment you will identify these kind of patterns in your life, the life will change. Now, I think it's time now. I'll not hold you people back. And thank you so much, everybody, for giving me the opportunity to speak today. I just wanted to, thank Kavita ma'am and Rita ma'am for giving me the opportunity to speak today. I believe if you'll practice these unlearning steps, it's going to help you. So both the principles, the 3 R's, recognize, release, and relearn, keep that in mind. And when you are implementing the framework, please keep in mind the awareness, reflection, experimentation, and reinforcement process. This is going to help you grow in your life. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Very enlightenment, this topic, that the way you have given us about the 3 R's, about the framework, mind-blowing, fantastic. And we would love to listen again in the coming days. I hope so you won't mind and you will always be ready with us. And it's very, very important just to have these kind of sessions in the schools, in the colleges. Yeah, because some of the students, of course, that we have to work on these 3 R's, we have to unlearn it. Some of the students, they carry unnecessarily the stresses in their minds. They want to do something in their life, they're unable to do it up. Lots of
Absolutely.
things, yeah, for discussion. But I know that time is demanding now that that Rita ma'am, you are already there.
Yeah. I think
We will have
somebody
to
had a
listen
question
from,
also.
yeah.
I don't know, ma'am, if you have a question as well, I believe. Samsung SM, I don't know what's your name is, ma'am.
Okay,
I'm
she
sorry.
has raised her arm. Okay, fine.
जी मैम, हम सुन सकते हैं आपको, शायद आप बोल रही हैं तो।
Hello.
जी जी
हाँ
Yes.
जी।
Yes.
Yes,
Kavita ji, I am Dr. Ramneek Sharma from Classic
I know,
Chandigarh.
ma'am. I know you, ma'am. Once again.
Okay. No, very nice, very lucid talks both. पहले वाली का मैं एक थोड़ा सा वो करना चाहती हूँ, जो उन्होंने एग्जाम्पल जो कोट किया था ऑफ एन आर्मी ऑफिसर एंड द सन एंड द डॉटर इन लॉ. तो मैं ये कहना चाहती हूँ कि आई मीन व्हाट हैपेंड टू द ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ द सन, यू नो, आई मीन why couldn't they get the son treated rather than, you know, I mean, let it slide into a position whereby beating up the wife and things like that.
The treatment is on, of course, he is under treatment only.
Okay, even then.
But उसके केस में ये है कि उसको एक ही चीज उसके यहाँ पे सेट है कि she should come back in my life.
Okay, so
He
why not
is
give
ready. No, the girl is not ready to go now because what the trauma they have gone through, I think probably five times she had gone back.
Oh my God.
all right.
So how many times? Huh? How many times?
No, it's then probably the treatment which is going on is not helping the boy, because otherwise,
Correct.
yeah, he wouldn't be
Absolutely.
in such.
And then, you know,
Little-
family has a very big role to play into this. Huh?
yeah, absolutely,
You
surely.
see, initially the problem was only with the boy. Then the mother-in-law also started troubling the girl.
No, that
So
is not fair.
this doesn't go, na? This doesn't go. A
No, it
girl
doesn't.
can take a trauma from one person only, not from the whole. Her father-in-law is, of course, very nice. Father-in-law is very good. He says, "Ki beta, you come back, we can have her," but she's sick and tired of it, you know.
I know over the years it becomes really difficult to.
She's sick and tired of the whole entire situation.
True. And to Dr. Nitya, I want to just make one comment, if you agree with me or not. Learning का जो process और you know, unlearning का जो process है, the first point is very difficult of acceptance, you know.
Yes.
Yeah,
Awareness.
because the beginning is very difficult for a person to accept that, okay, I have this and I need to
Absolutely.
move out of it, you know. Once that comes, then the process is easier, I feel.
Absolutely, मैम earliest conquests are the most difficult ones. अब सीढ़ी पे भी चढ़ते हैं ना, पहले 2-3 जब कदम आप चढ़ते हैं तो आपको डर लगता है. एक बार आप सीढ़ी पे आ जाते हैं तो फिर इजीली आप चढ़ जाते हैं. यही है
उसके
मैम.
लिए अगर आपके पास तोड़ है तो वो बताइए.
मैम, as I said, मेरे पास जब मेरे स्टूडेंट्स आते हैं या people come to me and they said that they don't have reading, they don't want to inculcate the habit of reading. I always tell them that you need to break those stigma कि ये हो नहीं सकता. पहला स्टिग्मा तो यही है कि आपको लगता है पहला स्टेप डिफिकल्ट है. यही स्टिग्मा अगर आपने तोड़ दिया, आई थिंक थिंग्स विल चेंज ऑटोमेटिकली. आपको ये सोचना ही नहीं है कि पहला स्टेप डिफिकल्ट है. आपको ये सोचना है इट इज इजियर, यू नो, इजियर टू डू रादर देन सेइंग इट. तो वो चीज जब आपके दिमाग में आएगी, देन ओनली द थिंग्स विल चेंज. एंड आई हैव सीन माय स्टूडेंट्स एंड अक्रॉस द ग्लोब व्हेन आई इंटरेक्ट विद पीपल जिनकी रीडिंग हैबिट नहीं थी, व्हेन वी टोल्ड देम कि यू हैव टू ब्रेक दिस स्टिग्मा एंड एटलीस्ट रीड 1 पेज अ डे, 21 डेज में उन्होंने वो हैबिट चेंज करी है. एंड टुडे आई हैव दोज स्टूडेंट जो एक महीने में 6 से 7 नॉवेल्स कंप्लीट करते हैं. एंड लास्ट ईयर इसी टाइम पर वो वैसे लोग थे कि जिनको एक पन्ना पढ़ने में भी आलस आता था. तो ये स्टिग्मा है जो आप ब्रेक कर सकते हैं. इफ इट कैन हैपन विद वन हैबिट, इट कैन हैपन विद एनीथिंग दैट यू वांट टू डू इन योर लाइफ. ऑल यू नीड इज कि आपको एक बार करना है, वो आदत डालनी.
I'll add something here. Can I add something here?
Absolutely.
It is now, I'll come to the topic of drugs. Because I'm associated with so many de-addiction centers, right?
Drugs में. So things, first step becomes very difficult, acceptance का. बोलिए ma'am, please, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. So I have seen there कि when पेरेंट्स, जब बच्चा बहुत तंग कर रहा होता है ना घर में, आपको भी यू नो ड्रग वाली सिचुएशन जो होती है, द चिल्ड्रन आर रेडी टू किल देयर पेरेंट्स, किल देयर सिबलिंग्स एंड ऑल दैट. Then they frantically start calling to the de-addiction centers. Please come and take the child. Please come and take my husband. Please come take in my son. and then they go, वो जाते हैं, बच्चों को ले आते हैं, admit कर लेते हैं. But the parents don't accept that we have admitted our child into a de-addiction center.
Yeah.
Or when they require this help, they do not accept that our child is into addiction. He needs help, right? And admit bhi kar denge. Then they'll start, after 1 month, the thoughts start coming across their minds. Oh, it is a stigma. Then they'll start calling these center people. We
Yeah.
want to talk to our child. This, that. Acceptance, what you are talking about, ma'am, acceptance. They don't accept that alcohol is a disease. Alcoholism is a disease.
Yeah.
They say he takes alcohol, but they
Yeah.
will not accept that alcoholism is a disease.
Absolutely.
So this is the fine line. You just have to understand that it is a disease and it needs to be catered upon. If you will not cater to this disease,
Absolutely. I
their
mean, you have
child will go into doom only.
Yeah, you have to identify a social
Yeah, you
drinking
have
from addiction
Yeah.
or dependence, whatever.
Yes, this is how. Anyway,
Ma'am,
continue,
वो
ma'am.
हरिवंश
Kavita, ma'am.
जी ने कहा है ना कि
Thank you, ma'am. Thank
ये
you.
समझ
Yeah,
में आ
sir,
जाए.
please.
सॉरी मैम, एक
Please.
हरिवंश राय बच्चन जी की एक छोटी सी लाइन है कि जब आपको ये समझ में आ जाए कि आप कहाँ गलत हैं तो आप सही होने लगते हैं. ये एक
Yeah.
बहुत जरूरी है कि
Absolutely.
आपको
The
समझ
day
में
you
आना
feel.
पहला स्टेप है.
Yes,
Sorry.
yes.
The most important
Kavita
thing
ma'am.
is that you have to adapt your brain. The most important thing, whatever he has shared with us.
For
सारा
me,
खेल किसका
only
है?
one word.
Brain.
For me, only one word is contentment. If you are
Contentment.
contented in your life, you will not go into any kind of problems in life. This
Yeah,
is my
sure.
motto
वो
of
कहते हैं
life.
ना, जब आवे संतोष धन सब धन धूरी समान.
Yes, yes. Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I would love to invite our DJ and ma'am, Rita Kalra, ma'am. Ma'am, please, we would love to listen from you.
बस अब हमारा टाइम बहुत हो गया है, 1
Yes,
hour.
sir.
And I really appreciate Kavita's initiative for bringing mental wellness into Rotary. और हर बार कुछ नया टॉपिक होता है और मुझे लगता है ये सब हमको मालूम तो है बट हम उसको इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं कर पाते. तो रीइंफोर्समेंट की बात की नित्या ने, तो आई थिंक दीज वेबिनार्स आर एक्चुअली रीइंफोर्समेंट्स. और अंजना मैम, थैंक यू फॉर शेयरिंग द इनसाइट्स जो आप इश्यूज को इतनी बखूबी रेज भी कर रहे हैं और उनको रिजॉल्व भी कर रहे हैं. सो आई थैंक यू फॉर योर इनिशिएटिव्स. तो एक छोटी सी पोइट्री से कंक्लूड करेंगे फॉर मेंटल वेलनेस. ये नायाब करके एक पोइटेस है, उसका है, मुस्कुराओ अगर कहीं से हार गए हो, किसी को जीत की तुमसे ज्यादा जरूरत थी शायद. मुस्कुराओ अगर दिल टूट गया हो, किसी को तुमसे ज्यादा उसकी जरूरत थी शायद. किसी को जोड़ने के लिए किसी को तोड़ना पड़ता है शायद. और भी रह जाए अगर दिल में दर्द कहीं तो बांट कर मुस्कुराओ. और अगर दिल में खुशी ज्यादा है तो सेम प्रोसेस दोहराओ. मुस्कुराओ अगर सिर पर है छत, बदन पर है कपड़ा और थाली में खाना. और अगर है जरूरत से ज्यादा तो बांट कर घर आना. मुस्कुराओ जब बार बार सोचकर ये हताश हो जाते हो कि इससे अच्छा ये हो जाता, इससे अच्छा वो हो जाता. ये सोचकर मुस्कुराओ कि इससे बुरा हो जाता तो क्या हो जाता. मुस्कुराओ जब पूछे कोई जिंदगी जीने का क्या है सलीका. मुस्कुराओ ये कहकर हमने जिंदगी से मुस्कुराना ही सीखा. मुस्कुराओ भले ही आपको मीलों मील पैदल चढ़ना पड़े. मुस्कुराओ मुस्कुराओ.
Wow, ma'am. Fantastic. Good.
Wonderful.
Again,
So,
ma'am, contentment in the life.
Again, I was about to say, again,
Yeah.
the contentment.
Yeah.
See, that is the pillar of our life.
Yeah.
Contentment. See, I have lived my life like that. Honestly, I am a self-made person.
That is
In
the
my, in my battle of life, I fought cancer. You see, matlab, I fought cancer 12 years back. I survived. I couldn't help my husband survive. I saw him going in 9 months, just going. In so there is nothing in this life than your self dignity and self contentment. That only takes us, restfully to our grave. This is what I
That's
think.
the mantra for happiness. That's the mantra for happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Contentment.
And
Thank
it's been a lovely, lovely session. I must
Yeah.
say that.
Yes, ma'am. Then, Richa ma'am, shall we wind up now?
Yeah,
ma'am?
yeah, please.
Yeah,
You
thank
can
you.
close the recording and then we will get it made into a YouTube video and we'll share it on all the groups.